On today's show, we interview Dr. Sandy Spataro about whether you should pivot or push forward and how to sustainably inspire your team on a daily basis. We also talk about our shared love for WKRP in Cincinnati, and we discover that the PhD does not watch Full House.
You got it, dude.
Get ready to enter the Thrive Time Show.
We started from the bottom, now we hit. We started from the bottom and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we hit. We started from the bottom, now we hit.
We started from the bottom, now we're on the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Cutting Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of five, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the C&Z up on your radio, and now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we hit. We started from the bottom and we'll show you how to get.
Yes, 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 and yes, Thrive Nation. On today's show, we have an expert who can answer the question, should you pivot or push forward? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Sandy Spataro onto the Thrive Time Show. Miss Sandy, how are you, ma'am?
Hey, I'm great. I'm so excited to be talking with you. Fired up.
Well, okay, so you are a woman who's highly educated. You hold a PhD in organizational behavior and industry relations from the School of Business at the University of California. How did you discover that you were interested in that particular subject?
Yeah, I did my undergraduate and master's degrees in stuff related to that, but I didn't really know what I had to say. And so I went out in the world and worked. Like many graduates of Stanford University, I went to Silicon Valley and I worked at Oracle Corporation for a while, about 7 years, which I think in Silicon Valley years, it's like dog years, right? Like it's much more than that. But,
that's what I've heard, yeah.
What I realized there was that this people stuff about business, this hard stuff, the stuff you can't put in a spreadsheet, is actually what really intrigues me and what I think really makes the difference in business. So it was an easy decision to say I really want to study that more and dig in.
Where did you grow up? What was life like for you growing up?
I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area. Enjoying all aspects of that wonderful place. So camping in the Redwood Forest every summer and going to see shows in San Francisco, theater and stuff like that. So it was really great. The town I grew up in is called Livermore, and it's a mix of cowboys and scientists because there's a national research lab there. So fun culture and fun place to be. And then it was a great place to go to school as well. There's good schools in the area. And so I got to spend the first almost 30 years of my life in a 60-mile radius, which was really nice.
Well, I have to ask you a lot of San Francisco questions real quick. How big of a fan were you of Full House?
I'm not a good San Francisco on that. I never watched that show.
Really?
Those little girls were cute.
Okay, you never watched the show?
I lived about 2 blocks from what they call the Painted Ladies, that house that's that they show as the house. I think it's the Tanners, right? That they lived in.
Yeah. Okay.
I lived just a couple blocks off that, but had just never got around to it.
Okay. I tell you what. I struck out on my first question.
Are you a big fan?
My wife is, therefore I am. You know what I mean? And I look on and I say, Jesse has good hair. I don't have that kind of hair. Bob Saget's kind of funny. I'm kind of funny. He's not really funny. I'm not really funny. I could relate to him. Now, the next San Francisco question for you. Buck's Restaurant in San Jose. Uncle Buck's, the restaurant there. Have you ever been to Buck's on Woodside?
No, I don't know it.
Gosh,
I haven't lived in the Bay Area for the last almost 30 years.
Okay, I'm over 2.
I don't know it.
This next one's going to heat up. What is your opinion of the San Francisco Giants and or the 49ers? Do you care? Do you care?
I am. I've become a much bigger fan of the 49ers since I left. I grew up as an Oakland Raiders girl because I'm an East Bay person.
Raiders.
So I've been a Raiders fan since birth.
You
seem... I still bleed silver and black. Just win, baby. But really excited about the 49ers. My parents, who had 49ers season tickets for over 20 years, they now live in St. Louis, kept all their Christmas decorations up through the Super Bowl because, they were winning. While the Christmas tree was up,
exciting year
so
for you guys. It's exciting year for you guys. That's
yeah.
Garoppolo, man, you're gonna. Yeah, I think you guys are gonna be good for the foreseeable future. Now, my final San Francisco related question, then we'll get into the good stuff here. Oracle. I have only met a few people that have worked for Oracle, and I have been told that this dog years philosophy of Silicon Valley is very true. But I wanted to ask you, as much as you're comfortable sharing, I mean, what kind of hours were you keeping working there? Why do people say it's so hard to work in that kind of environment?
Yeah, it was exciting and thrilling. And, I did my first work all-nighter at Oracle, not in college. I mean, we worked really long hours. I remember this dates how old I am, when Johnny Carson was retiring from the Tonight Show, it was like a race to get home by 11:30 for the opening monologue.
Wow.
There were long hours.
Yeah.
That said, we were all 20 years old. Who cares? You can work 24 hours a day when you're 20 years old. It was fun. It was great fun.
Well, my understanding is now you are the co-CEO and the co-founder of Inspire Corp., an all-woman-led professional strategy firm and an associate professor of management at Northern Kentucky University. You have a lot going on. What do you do here at Inspire Corp.? What does this company do?
Yeah, Inspire Corp is, like you said, a woman-owned firm, but we maintain that inspiration is the difference maker for people at work. We all deserve to be inspired by our work. Furthermore, we've written a book called Dare to Inspire that it gives the step-by-step for how to get there. So we really work with companies, we work with teams, we coach individual leaders, we work on cultures to help people thrive through inspiration, to really bring that into their everyday practice.
Where do most businesses lack inspiration? I mean, give me let's just say the guy listening right now, the lady listening right now, she owns a yoga business of some kind, okay? And he owns a stereotypical automotive repair shop. And she maybe also owns an automotive repair shop. If you go into these businesses, the yoga place, the automotive repair shop, where are most people missing the enthusiasm? Where do you see it getting weird?
Yeah, so what's interesting is each of us has an individual inspiration fingerprint. Like what gets us fired up is different. I think not by industry, it's even more granular. It's by individual.
Truth.
And so where people miss it is just not being aware that it's a brass ring there to be grabbed. What you got to do is sit down and look inside yourself as to what gets you fired up. And the book takes you through 18 what we call engines of inspiration that spark inspiration for you, and then make it a practice, right? We used to think about inspiration as this thing of, oh, I hope it will come visit me for a 30-second period, right? And then my life will be different. Now it's something that you can say, all right, I'm going to bring this into my life deliberately. I'm going to have it on demand. I'm going to make it last. That's the difference maker.
Do you prefer to be called Dr. Sandra or Sandy? What do you want me to call you? What's you're so educated. I'm so not educated. I want to find the middle ground. What do you want me to call you?
Most people call me Sandy, and that's just fine.
Okay, so Sandy, maybe I compromise. Maybe Dr. Sandy. Sandy, you are an inspired woman. What fires you up? I mean, just so the listeners out there kind of get to know you a little bit. What kind of stuff fires you up?
Yeah, really, one of the engines of the book that we talk about is connection to purpose. And I've discovered over my career that my purpose in life is to help people become their best selves. And I'm the luckiest woman in the world because that is what I do for a living in all of my jobs. And so if I'm in the classroom and a student has an aha moment, or if I'm coaching an executive and they recognize that this is really what they want to be doing, or this is a strength that they didn't know they had, or I'm grading a paper where somebody says, as I'm typing this, I'm realizing I could be doing things all differently. That is the stuff that really jazzes me. That's what gets me fired up.
Where I know your book can be purchased all over the world right now, Dare to Inspire, but I know you coach clients all over the world, but where's home for you?
Right now, I live just outside of Cincinnati. I live in Northern Kentucky, which is literally just across the river from downtown Cincinnati. I work at a public university in Northern Kentucky.
My wife,
and I love it.
My wife lived in the Louisville area from she grew up in San Diego and then moved to Louisville at age 12 and lived there she went to DuPont Manual High School in the heart of downtown there. Louisville's a beautiful, beautiful place. Do you find that your office, you have to kind of decorate your office a certain way to inspire yourself, or to walk us through kind of the things you do on a daily basis to inspire yourself?
So another thing that is a big deal for me is the California redwoods. That's my church. That's a place where I really can go inside myself and find new ideas and excitement and peace and serenity. And I have pictures of redwood trees in my forest, in my office, in my forest. I have 2 big posters of California redwoods. I also have a piece of art that I love. It's a little Matisse painting, and a poster of the California Republic flag, the California state flag, because where I come from is a big part of who I am. That's one thing that I do. Another thing that I do, I find that movement is really helpful to me. I think I got through graduate school on doing my reading on the elliptical machine.
Really?
Because the endorphins get flowing, right? And you start thinking about stuff. So today, what that looks like in my life when I'm bent over a computer, like a lot of us are all day long, is just getting up. And I work on the 3rd floor, so I walk down to the lobby, and I walk across the building, and I walk up the back steps. That's a 10-minute reset to change my energy, but it makes for my ability to sustain my inspiration is much longer then, instead of push until you're broken.
Napoleon Hill, the self-help author, I read his book, Think and Grow Rich, so many years ago, but I refer to it often. And one of the things he talked about, which blew my mind, it caused me to write on my walls, Dr. Sandy. But he says here, you are the master of your destiny. You can influence, direct, and control your own environment. You can make your life what you want it to be. I think a lot of people are in their office right now. They don't have a copy of your book, Dare to Inspire, Sustain the Fire of Inspiration in Your Work and Life. And they go, our office is just kind of the Mondays.
Humdrum.
And Josh with Living Water Irrigation. You've started Josh is here with us. Josh, meet Dr. Sandy here. Oh, am I muting you, Josh? I'm a terrible person. Josh, I'm muting you. I'm a bad person. Let's try that again there, my friend.
Hello, Dr. Sandy. How are you doing, ma'am?
Hi, Josh.
Pleasure
Nice
speaking
to
with
talk to
you.
But at one point, Josh, you had to say, you know what? I am going to start a company, and I'm going to be the catalyst that starts the company. And
Yes,
at a
sir.
certain point, as you grew past the baby business into a multi-million-dollar company, at a certain point, there's more of them than you.
Yes, sir.
There's more teammates than you. And I'm sure your office could get weird, could get awkward, could get negative, could get low energy, could get... What questions would you have for the good Dr. Sandy here about how to inspire and sustain that fire of inspiration in your life and in the workplace?
So, Dr. Sandy, my first question, I'm sure you could probably elaborate on this pretty extensively, but is what actionable exercise could we do as small business owners? So I have a team of 13. So what could I do as far as to understand or inspire each individual member of my team? What's a good place to start on an exercise there to keep up the level of inspiration long term?
I love that you said, Josh, what can I do to inspire each individual person on my team? That goes back to this fingerprint idea, that we're all different. So one thing you could do is identify everybody's strengths. You can do that on a assessment, right? We use the VIA assessment. There's Gallup, Strength Finder, whatever. Or you can just have people identify each other's strengths and talk about how they're using them and how you'd like to see them use them more, right? That's a reliable engine to spark inspiration. It's also a fantastic team builder, and it's a smart way to allocate work across the team. So you're accomplishing a number of different things with a session focused just on that. You could also tap into what they want to share as values. Talk about what's important to them about their workplace, what are the have-to-haves, and what are the no deals, and what are the would like to have, and set up those values and then monitor them. I was working with a group a bit back where about 6 months into their new value system, we sat around and they each took a piece of paper, and for each value they wrote a number 1 to 5 big on their paper, and then they held them up like the figure skating judges used to, right? They just held up their numbers so each other could see. And that made for great discussion where there were differences in the numbers, or where they all thought they were high, or where they all thought they were low, and getting people involved in making the team happen. Another thing you can do is just have shared experiences. Go somewhere together, do something. There's reason to socialize together. It builds the relationship, it builds the trust that then you rely on when you're writing the report or designing a new product or researching the market. it flows through. Those things are valuable.
Dr.
So there's
Sandy,
some ideas.
Dr. Sandy, you spent a lot of time researching and writing your book, Dare to Inspire. What was your process like for researching this book? Did you wake up one day and say, aha, here it is, stream of consciousness? Did you spend years researching? What did the process look like?
Yeah, it was somewhere in between those two, right?
Got it.
I mean, when we first formed the company, we recognized that inspiration was that thing. It was the intangible that makes the difference in work, in performance, in experience of the work. And then we realized there really isn't a lot researched about it. There's a couple of, Thrash and Elliott are two academics who look at it as a state, a temporary way of being. But we really were looking at leaders and teams who were doing it, who were living it. So we followed two paths. One, we started interviewing people. We interviewed over 100 executives about inspiration in their work and their lives. And those interviews are highlighted in the book. And then two, we found stories and wrote many cases about leaders and companies who we didn't interview but could still learn from. How did inspiration look for them, and what were they practicing to be really high performers, inspired performers? And along those two tracks, it was a bottom-up approach. We looked at the data and said, what is this telling us? And it informed our engines of inspiration. There's personal engines, relationship engines, and situational engines. And it informed the practices of sustaining inspiration. Inspiration is a muscle. You got to work it, just like you do at the gym.
Did you interview 100+ executives, you said?
Yeah. Yeah, we've talked with a lot of people.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay.
It's really fun to talk to people about inspiration. Try it. It's exciting.
Who's one of the executives that maybe you interviewed that stood out to you as like, wow, she doesn't fire me up as much as a redwood, but almost. She is like the Garoppolo of inspiration. Who was the one where you thought, wow, this person is powerful?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you one that's actually more recent. We're continuing doing the interviews for our next book, and just because they inform our work. And I interviewed someone with my partner, Jen Grace Barron, just Friday at Cincinnati Children's Hospital. Is the director of diversity and inclusion there. And she's the leader we all wish we had. She's really inspirational. And the stories that she told us from her work and her life of how she lives inspiration mapped to what we have in the book. So it was nice reinforcement in that way, and also just gave us new ideas. You know when you talk to a person and you just get those chills, you get the goosebumps? It was that story. And it's because she's living her values and working her values. That the diversity and inclusion stuff that she does is really important to her. And she's got a big job at a big employer in Cincinnati, and she does it out in her community outside of work because it's so meaningful to her. She can't get enough of it. That's inspiration.
Dr. Sandy, I don't know if you how passionate you are about this subject, so I'll just kind of dip my toe into the water lightly here. But WeWork, and WeWork. A lot of hype, a lot of energy, a lot of excitement around WeWork. You know, a lot of people wanted WeWork to be the thing. They raised a lot of money, and at some point, people were very inspired. By the way, they were inspired to renovate these buildings to raise a bunch of money, and then it started to fall apart. And then, from your research, when should they have pivoted and stopped pushing forward, or should they have? Just break down what you believe where WeWork got it wrong, and maybe where they should have pivoted or changed. I just want to get your take on WeWork.
Yeah, I mean, the situation's been analyzed quite a lot. There was the announcement of the IPO in, August, and then in the ensuing months, just everything from the CEO, all the practices, all the investors fell apart, as everyone knows. So before the announcement of the IPO, is my answer to that, they were in a situation where, like you said, they were working toward this one goal, toward maximizing their valuation for an IPO. That's a noble goal and can't be achieved unless you have balance around it. We have a model in the book of how teams and organizations thrive that has inspiration at the core, but then looks at 4 different ways you put inspiration into practice. They were pushing all on one of those ways, driving to results. That was the only thing that they were considering, right? Whether it's, so that was the thing that they were considering. And the 3 other areas, aligning everything to that goal, building trust and connection internally and externally, and visionary and innovative thinking, were neglected. So they were totally off kilter pushing toward that goal. Now, I don't know if they would have had a formal reset in their thinking 3 months prior. Could they have said, hey, wait a minute, this business model is not so sustainable and we need to build around it to be able to achieve our IPO goal? I think they would have been more successful doing that. But it was this tunnel vision that really got them off course.
Have you been to a lot of WeWorks? Have you personally decided to go check out a lot of WeWorks?
I've been at more co-working spaces recently in the last 5 years. Yeah, I have.
Fundamentally, do you think the business model could work?
Well, I think what was tricky is they were both landlord and renter, right? They were doing it on both sides, which is really tricky. I can't comment on the finances of the business model. The idea of it seems to me well matched to the gig economy, the way we are working now, where people are not necessarily tied to physical institutions or are working remotely from the physical institution. That all makes good sense to me. They didn't have the finances of it right.
I would like to chime in, and you can correct me if you want to. I'm going to call this why I think WeWork failed as a small business owner. I have if you get a chance, are you in front of a computer there, Dr. Sandy?
I am.
If you Google search Thrive Time Show, and the word Jinx, you can see our facility there. And it's about a 20,000 square foot facility that I house my own businesses there. You know, it's like the Nerve Center. Josh, you've been up there. It kind of feels like a WeWork, but I'll call it MeWork.
It's a blast.
Because it's just companies that I own, okay? We're all there. And what happens is we had in 2000 and I want to say 6 years ago. So 2013,
14.
Yeah. Somebody said, "Clay, I love the energy of your office. Could I sub-rent space?" And so Dr. Sandy, I'm all about, inspiration, and they said, I kind of love the mojo. And when you have hundreds of people all working and being productive, you kind of, Josh, you've seen it, you kind of want to jump in the chorus.
Absolutely.
And this guy, and this Dr. Sandy, it's too soon for me to laugh, but maybe you would find it to be funny. He would always curse while printing. So he would go to print, and no one else is cursing, but he's like, "Son of a just printer, I swear to God," and just but not ever openly, just passively aggressively attacking the printer, I swear to God. So I walk up to the man, I won't mention his name. I said, "Sir, is there?" And again, I'm the owner of multiple companies. I have better things to do than to worry about whether this guy's happy while printing. But I just walk by him, and it puts off this aura, this doom cloud. It's like Eeyore's in my office, and he's like, "Well, it never works." And I'm going, "Well, your boss, rents space here, and I fix it if you just tell me." Well, I would tell my boss, but he's never here either. So it's like this doom cloud. So I had to tell him, "Hey, I need you to keep it down." "I will keep it down," but he's like a yeller. So I had to ask the WeWork man to leave the MeWork. He had to leave my MeWork plan because he's just crazy. Then, I'm not kidding. Yeah. His boss used to eat foods that are not finger foods with his fingers, and then he would openly shake your hand, and he wanted to be like a makeshift greeter in my conference room. So he wanted to greet you like, "Oh, Dr. Sandy, good to see you." But he clearly has just eaten a rib. No. But he wants to shake your hand. No, true story. So this would happen. And then we had the toilet paper pirate. There was some female in the female restroom who would somehow clog the toilet every day. And I know it wasn't our employee because the moment she moved out, it stopped. But she would just clog all the toilets all the time. Crazy stuff. And so I realized no amount of money is worth dealing with this it's like a carny atmosphere in my office that's being created. And so I had to say, we got to go back to MeWork. Even though they paid well, it just wasn't worth it. And I've gone to some WeWorks in downtown Denver before. And I noticed that a woman there, or a man, I think it was a guy actually, he's a WeWork guy, and he was having a birthday party for a bunch of kids in the conference room while everyone else was trying to work. And I'm going, surely not. And he's just having a blasty blast. And so I think it's hard to get a bunch of different people to agree on what's socially acceptable behavior. Do you think that plays into that a little bit?
That's the thing, is there's got to be some agreed upon values. You're giving me stories of people who do not fit the culture of a co-working space.
Oh, man.
Right? There is a sense of cooperation that has to happen. There is a sense of who's around me and how am I affecting them. And if they don't fit that model, then you're right. They can't be a part of it. But when it does work, it's a great situation. Our company is distributed geographically. We're all in different places. And so, for my colleagues at InspireCore who don't have office space, I can come to my university and work here, but where they don't have office space, it's nice for them sometimes to go to a co-working space, be around people, be in an inspiring environment. It makes sense.
So it works when you have agreed upon values, but not so much when you have the randos of humanity there.
Yeah, and when you make sure that the people you're inviting into the space adhere to those values.
So you almost see like an office manager at a WeWork.
You got to be a good citizen, yeah.
Yeah, you got to have a referee there. I think we need to have a WeWork referee might fix it all. Because I know that when I was in Denver, it was crazy what was going on there. Crazy. Now, for you, you've also written a lot about resets, when it's time to reset, when it's time to keep going. Between my partner and I, we've built 16 multi-million-dollar companies. None of them have gone bankrupt. None of them have failed, quote unquote. None of them have been shut down for not working. But we have had to pivot. A lot of times you go out there and you say, I'm going to start a business. I started a wedding entertainment company. And quickly I realized, wow, I could also start a wedding photography company and make money by doing two things. I never thought about that when I first started. When is it time to pivot and when should we press on there, Dr. Sandy?
Yeah, so it's important to acknowledge that change is hard. Change is painful. We are hardwired to maintain the status quo. So we need to go into any situation recognizing that we're biased toward not pivoting. Now, the antidote to that is not jump on every opportunity that comes in front of you, right? You don't want to be reckless. But we got to be ready to push ourselves to action even when it's not comfortable. And I think what it really comes down to, both for organizations and for individuals, is that purpose question, that values question. Are you sure about what you're doing? Is it living what you want to be, right? Why was wedding photography interesting to you as part of wedding events? I'm sure it was partly just the financial opportunity, but I think there was probably some meaning in that for you as well in terms of rounding out the celebration. And pivoting should happen when there's opportunity to step into your purpose more or your values more. I spent the beginning of my academic career at research universities that didn't care as much about teaching. Well, I love teaching. It's who I am. When I finally got to a school that loves teaching as much as I do, I was home. On day one, I had found my tribe, right? So being having the courage to recognize a misfit where you're not being inspired, where you're not living your values or your purpose, and knowing that you have a bias against action, and then the courage to take action.
You are a wealth of knowledge, and I think that somebody out there is saying,
I hope so.
Somebody's saying, I'm not near your college. I don't live in the Cincinnati area. By the way, did you like the TV show WKRP in Cincinnati?
Oh yes, that's a staple in my growing up. Absolutely, every Thanksgiving.
I was swinging and missing there on some of my earlier guesses, but I thought you might like Fuller House. I thought you might like Full House, not so much, but you did like WKRP in Cincinnati. I was 1 for 5, 1 for 5, 1 for 4 there. I'm on fire. I'm betting 250. How can people get a hold of you? What do you want our listeners to do? Is there a book you say, hey, this is my best work, go get this thing? Is there a website you want them to go to? What's the best call to action for our listeners today?
3 things. One is read Dare to Inspire.
Got it.
Right? Buy a copy with 4 friends to split the cost. Whatever you do, read the book because I'm embarrassed to say this, but I think it's true. It changes your life. It really makes a difference. We're hearing that from so many readers. Read the book. Go through the book. 2, check out InspireCore. There's a number of different resources on our website. It's on our website. It's inspirecore.com.
Got it.
There's great resources there. You can take a quiz to see how inspired you are in your work and get some feedback on that. And certainly folks are welcome to reach out to me personally. My email is sandy@inspirecore. It's pretty simple. So I'd love to hear from folks. Happy to answer questions and talk things through.
Sandy, I really do appreciate you joining us today, and I cannot tell you how much we appreciate your time, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Stop what you're doing and think about this for a second. What would happen if your company was suddenly able to generate exponentially more quality sales leads? That would be incredible. What would happen if your company came up at the top or near the top of the Google search engine results? Well, I would just feel overwhelmed with all that business. How many thousands of dollars in lost sales or millions of dollars in lost sales are you missing out on simply because your potential customers can't find you when they go online to search for the products and services that you offer? I refuse to think that thought because I don't want any more business. Unless you are a dirty communist that hates money, my new book, Search Engine Domination, will help you grow your business. In my new book, Search Engine Domination, we will teach you the specific steps that you need to take to dominate the search engine results. What do you mean by dominate? You see, in my new book, Search Engine Domination, we will teach you the specific steps that you need to take to dominate search engine results. Download your free ebook copy today at thebestseobook.com. I repeat, that's thebestseobook.com.
My name is Amy Baltimore, and I am a CPA in Covington, Tennessee. I've been working with the Thrive team now for about a year. One of the first things that they did was to update my website and my search engine optimization. I prior had a website, but I was not being found on Google, and all of my new business was coming through referrals from friends, family, etc. And right away I started to see results. People were calling and coming in saying that they found me on Google. They just Googled CPA near me, and there I was at the top of the page. And so it's been a great help to my business.
Again, you can download your free ebook copy today at thebestseobook.com.
Hey, this is Dustin Huff. I'm with Keystone Harbor Marina. We joined Thrive back in January and have been working with these guys for about 7 months. During that time period, we have moved up our Google rank through reviews and SEO processes that we've compiled through these guys. Our leads have gone from about 4 a week to now 165 a week. So the process works. I will tell you from experience, once you begin, you have to stay with it. As long as you continually do this week in and week out, month in and month out, you'll continually grow.
The system works, but nothing works unless you do. You've got to take some action. Download the ebook for free today at thebestseobook.com.
Hello, my name is Daniel with Daniel's Heating and Air here in Amarillo, Texas. The way Google has affected my business, we have got a lot of calls from Google. Right now it's July, and we've had the best month ever. And it took us about 8 to 10 months to get on top of Google, and I'm glad we did.
Remember, nothing works unless you do. You have to go to thebestseobook.com today. Download the ebook for free. Just download that ebook for free, and you'll be off to the races.
Hi, my name is Christina Nemus. I'm the owner and operator of Angel's Touch Auto Body and Detailing in Bourne, Massachusetts. We have been working with Thrive and their coaching for, say, 8 to 9 months, and it took us about 6 months, 5 to 6 months to get on the top of Google, and with their help with the website and marketing, and the SEO and retargeting ads with Google, and it has been phenomenal. We just have light and day business coming in, phone calls coming in, walk-ins, referrals. It's just through the roof, and we couldn't be happier. At the moment, we are up 50% this year from the previous year, and not only is that part of our own hard work and diligence, but also with the help of Thrive and what they've done for us and getting us on the top of Google and, you know, all their knowledge and coaching. And yeah, so super grateful, super pumped to see what the future holds for all of us. Thank you.
This is your year to thrive. Success you will find. Today is your day, and now is your time.
Lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth. Proverbs 10:4. I'm here to tell you, you can do it if you can just motivate yourself. 12 the masses had to cut off a few, so on the daily you and I could rendezvous. A misshapen tree that I had to prune. I had to make cuts to be here daily at noon. So like a tidal wave of knowledge monsoon, I could rain on the parades of those who doubt in you. Are you the next Rockefeller or the next guru, or the next Dr. King who's changing the rules? Walls are in your way, will you run right through? Like a running back, forth the one, it's up to you. I remember my days back in the dorm room, tuned to the gloom like the temple of doom, overwhelmed with the doubts that try to consume my hope for the future that I could pursue. But from the mountaintop now I can conclude that you have what it takes if you want the view to.
This is your year to thrive. Success you will find. Today is your day, and now is your time. It's your year to thrive. Success you will find. Today is your day, and now is your time.
This moment is profound cause you're above the ground. Your road might have been rough, but what you got now is now. We're here to pick you up and to even show you how, but you gotta be resourceful with that old plow. Started from the bottom, but I worked my way up, cause by 4 a.m. I've always been prayed up. Rise and grind, now's your time, don't dare let up. You gotta get it, don't quit it till your seeds grow up.
This is your year to thrive.
Come on.
Success you will find.
Yes.
Today is your day,
Somebody say,
and now is your time.
it's your time.
It's your year to thrive.
Come on.
Success you will find. Today is your day, and now is your time.
It's your time. We all have a wish and we all want to win, but we cannot begin without self-discipline. If you fall on your face, get yourself up again. Attach yourself to goals, not fail with the friends. When the storms get rough and it's scattered and leave, you only be there with yourself and what you believe. We believe in you, but not as much as God does. If you're going through hell, he's got nothing but love. Apply what you learn, increase what you earn, and in due time
You
you
got
have
money to burn. Apply what you've learned, increase what you earn, and in due time you got money to burn.
Sing it.
Apply what you've learned, increase what you earn. In due time you got money to burn.
Sing it.
Apply what you've learned,
Sing it.
increase what you earn.
Yes.
In due time you got money to
With
to
this lyrical
burn.
miracle,
Yeah.
I look to shout down the doubters, kill the weeds that be killing your dream flowers, empower you to devour all the obstacles that make your sweet dreams sour. As for me, I used to stutter, but now I'm on the microphone smooth like butter. If I can do it, I know you can too, but you must stick to it like postage do. And while Merton's on the chorus, singing what he sings, I encourage you to dream big dreams.
Today is your day,
Today's your day.
and now is your time.
It's your time.
This is your year to thrive.
Sing it.
Success you will find. Today is your day,
It's your day.
and now is your time.
It's your time.
Today is your day,
Come on.
and now is your time.
Sing it, Martin.
Today is your day, now is your time.
I realize I can't sing like that, but I can talk and play the woodblock. Okay. If you guys need me, I'll just be over here.